Okay, everybody, let's go over your zoos. So first, did every animal make it into your zoo? Why or why not? The answer is no, of course not. And that's because scarcity necessitates choices. You don't have everything available to you that you could ever possibly want, so you need to make some hard decisions. For instance, maybe you didn't have the monkeys. So what you were limited by here was the space of your zoo. It would have taken at least about twice the amount of land I gave you to fit every single animal in the zoo because you needed a pair in order to keep them alive. So, uh, if we could have fit everything, if we had unlimited resources, then yeah, of course we wouldn't have had the problem of scarcity. But because we have limited resources, that is why scarcity exists. It's the basic economic problem. We have unlimited wants on one hand, but limited resources. This is something that's going to come up frequently in our discussions. Now, did you include a cow in your zoo? I am willing to bet, despite me recording this before any of you did any of this, that most of you did not include a cow in your zoo. And that's because you think of the benefits versus the costs. Yeah, your benefit of a cow is relatively low. I mean, people can go see cows pretty easily without paying money. There's a farm about 5 miles from my house, and I can go see cows anytime I want. Nobody has to be paid for it. I just have to, sneak out near the fence. And I don't even live near that much farmland. So imagine if you're somewhere near Bucks County or something like that. Uh, so in the end, that benefit is relatively low, but the cost to your zoo, the resources you have to take out to have that cow, is relatively high in comparison. So what we do this in economics is we call this economizing. Uh, you make that economic choice of cost versus benefit. Now, why wouldn't you have a zoo with just monkeys or any other of the animal? And that's because you have diminishing marginal benefit. Now, let's face it, monkeys are awesome. People love monkeys. I love monkeys. But once you have a set of monkeys, that's you're pretty set. You don't need a whole lot more than what you already have. Uh, we call this diminishing marginal benefit. The more you consume of something, the less happy you are consuming it. We will revisit this somewhat frequently. Um, but for now, let's just keep with the idea that the more you consume of something, the less utility you get from it. Now, which type of elephant did you choose? And why did you choose that type? Once again, you're looking at cost versus benefits. And I'm willing to bet that most of you chose the Asian elephant. And that's because it came up with a less cost. Your average person isn't going to look at the elephant and go, oh, African versus Asian. I obviously like the African elephant better. Your average person isn't going to know the difference or won't care enough to boycott your zoo over having the wrong type of elephant. So, uh, the relatively much higher cost of the African elephant means that most people will go for the Asian. Now, what was the last animal to make it for your zoo? When you're thinking about this, I want you to be thinking about marginal analysis. You think about the extra benefit versus the extra cost of one more of something. This is an important thing in all of economics. We look at stuff on the marginal, on the edge, on the one more consumption. So that is going to be big in our decision making. What does it cost me to have one more cow in my zoo versus one more reptile pavilion? In the meantime, what is my benefit for one more cow or one more reptile pavilion? I will make that choice and I'll make an informed decision. At least that's what economics presumes that we're going to be doing. Now, what was the animal that just missed the cut? That's your opportunity cost. If I wanted my reptile pavilion and it came at the cost of a cow, then the cow is my opportunity cost. It's my foregone benefit. It's what I could have had I made the other choice. It's a little bit of a tricky idea because a lot of people will look at opportunity cost and say cost that has to be monetary. Now, sometimes we can monetize it, but it's really about the foregone benefit, not the direct cost itself. We'll be hitting this a lot more later on. So, as I said, it's about the last animal you chose. Now, will everybody agree to the same animals? Would everybody ever make that choice if you built it alone? Probably not. But I would assume most of you came to some sort of agreement. And that's the idea of social benefits versus individual benefits. You looked at, well, this person really wants this animal for the zoo, but I wanted this one. But I don't really care that much, and they care a whole lot. So socially, it's more beneficial if I let them get their way with this one. But I really wanted a lion, so I'm going to fight for that lion. So you look at those benefits versus costs socially as well in order to come up with a group decision. Now, sometimes you're able to work it out on your own as individuals, and sometimes you do need the government to get involved. And that's going to be a unit when those societal benefits versus individual benefits don't necessarily align. And this is going to be what we term as a market failure. So we will be looking at all of these things. Usually we relate it to pollution of some type, traffic or something like that. Those are usually the best examples. And that was the zoo activity. I hope you all enjoyed it. That was meant to be just a brief introduction to a bunch of different economic concepts. We'll be going back to all of those in greater detail as we go. So if you were a little bit confused about something, don't be nervous. We'll be hitting them a lot more as the course goes on. But if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. Email me. You all know how to get a hold of me. All right. Hope you enjoyed it.